Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lead Safe Columbus Hilltop public meeting. We're really delighted to have you here tonight, and we appreciate your taking your time on such a lovely evening, and hopefully you've helped yourself to some pizza, but if you run out and you'd like to refill it, please feel welcome to do that. So my job is to, first of all, be your facilitator and your MC. My name is Marie Keister. I'm part of the lead service line team, and I'm with the firm Murphy Epson, but we are very proud of our partnership with the City of Columbus Water and Power. Tonight, you're going to hear from Hannah Mullen from Columbus Water and Power, Emily Eskridge from Columbus Water and Power, Evan DeSanto, Columbus Water and Power, and I'm the outlier, Marie Keister. And one of my jobs is to make sure you get out on time. So as we let you learn more about this program, I will explain the meeting format in just a minute. So why are we here? Our plan is these great speakers here will share the lead service line updates. What is that all about, and how does it affect the Hilltop neighborhood? We're going to explain what to expect if work should affect you and if it's required on your property. And we have experts standing by to answer questions about your specific property. We are making the commitment to keep you informed every step of the way. This team has an outreach team that is fully committed to keeping that communication line open to you, and then we have a direct line to the technical experts who can answer your questions. Tonight, after the presentation, we are going to be asking you for questions, and then this team will help respond. And I will give you some discussion ground rules when we get to that part of the evening. The presentation is going to last around 30 minutes or so, and they're going to overwhelm you with information, but it's good, interesting information, actually. But when you need to ask a question later, please keep the questions at a high level, because we'll do that facilitated question and answer period for 15 minutes or so, and then we want to make sure you go directly to one of those tables back there where you can share your property address, and the team has iPads they can look up to see how your property is or is not affected, and then you go home knowing a lot more. You have a QR code at your table, all right? So while you're hearing the presentation, you might get a question that kind of jogs in your head. You can follow the instructions to enter a Mentimeter poll on your phone, and you can ask your questions right there. Then when it's time for me to facilitate those questions and answers, I'll start with the ones that you've already communicated to us. And if you have, you're maybe a little old school like I am, and you don't want to do it electronically, you also have comment forms at your table. Please also feel free to jot your questions down there, and whether we get to them here, maybe it helps you kind of articulate or explain how you want to ask it, we can address it afterwards as well. So lots of ways to provide input. And then, as I mentioned earlier, several of those tables are staffed with a team of people with iPads who can answer your specific questions. We also have representatives from other departments at the City of Columbus who are addressing lead issues, and they're happy to share their issues and information with you as well if you have questions in those areas. We also have a mobile testing unit. If we have any children 6 or younger till about 9 months, we can test their blood to see if they have lead levels at all. So that's an opportunity for you as well. Well, I'm going to kick off with the big question by turning this over to Emily. And Emily, just stay between these two speakers.
Okay.
And if there's a delay, just wait for it.
I can wait for it. Hello, everybody. My name is Emily Eskridge. I am the Regulatory Compliance Manager for the Division of Water for the City of Columbus. That's a really long way to say that I oversee our lead program. I'm here to talk to you tonight about our lead replacement program. And the number one question I think people start with is there lead in the water? This may be the first time you're hearing that you may have a lead service line. And I think, that concerns a lot of people. The short answer is no. We don't see detectable levels of lead in the drinking water. You may think, why is that? Well, we treat the water with corrosion control, which prevents lead from leaching into the water. We have a very effective corrosion control program. We partner with the City Health Department, Columbus Public Health, in order to verify anytime they see a child that maybe is impacted by elevated blood lead levels, that it's not the water. In the 2 years that I've been here and all the years that we've been in partnership with Health, which has been about 8 years at this point, I can count on one hand the number of times we've seen anything detected, and it's almost never above the action level of 15. So through our sampling, through our methodology, your water is safe to drink. I like to start with that because now we're going to talk about lead, and I know a lot of people are going, oh gosh, lead. People understand lead. But we're not replacing lines because your water is not safe to drink. We're replacing them because it's time to remove the risk from the system, and it's time for us to move forward as part of a federal and a citywide program to take all the lead pipes out. So what is Lead Safe Columbus? We are working to replace all lead and galvanized steel lines across the city. Why galvanized? Well, galvanized downstream of lead may have some lead particulate that adheres to it, so it carries a similar risk as lead service lines. Corrosion control works on galvanized pipes as well, and it actually works really well, which is why some of them are over 100 years old. These lines are failing, really, at the end of the day. I like to joke that the ground is holding them together. When we dig them up, they sometimes crumble apart. And this really is a huge benefit to our customer because your line really is past its intended use, and it's not a question of when will it fail, or it's not a question of will it fail, it's when. It's coming. If you have a galvanized service line, at some point it's probably going to fail. Let us replace it for you so that we can take it out of the system. Ultimately, we're prioritizing historically underserved communities, again, communities with lots of lead service lines. We're trying to be efficient about this. We're trying to make sure that we get them all out systematically. Our goal is to do it before 2037. So what is a water service line? I think a lot of people know what a water service line is. A lot of people don't realize that it's divided in ownership typically in two parts. You've got a part here that gets to the water main to the curb stop, and you'll see a little circle sometimes in the tree lawn, sometimes in the sidewalk. That is owned by us as the public utility. From the curb stop into your home, that is owned by you. That is your private service line. Because of this, they can be made of different materials. We may have replaced our side, you may have replaced your side, so we have to identify the materials of both sides. So you may see some cards tonight asking for you to go home and identify your service line material. You would be looking at your public side. We also will be asking to get work agreements signed because that's your private service line and we need an agreement in order to replace it for you. Ultimately, like I said, we're replacing them now not because it's a health concern, but because there's new regulations in place. And actually, this is something we wanted to do for a long time. We have a new federal regulation. All service lines have to be removed by 2037. We know we can hit that deadline, so we're working hard and fast to make sure that it happens. We're being proactive. The galvanized piece, it's aging infrastructure. It's time for it to go. It helps preserve water loss and helps prevent us from losing water. It also helps, like I said, improve your infrastructure of your home as well to make sure that you're not going to have a line that might fail on you soon. All right.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Hannah. I'm also with the city, and I am going to share some more information about how this construction is going to be impacting you and your property and the Hilltop community. So we are expecting to replace around 50 to 60,000 water service lines as part of this project. That's a lot. So how are we going to do that? First, we are going to tack on to planned city construction. Essentially, if we are digging up a hole and we are exposing the water service line, we want to take care of that lead and galvanized steel right then and there. That's where the majority of the work happening right now will be, on this planned city construction. So we have about 7 construction projects planned for the Hilltop and Franklinton area. The main project will be a water main replacement. Then we're tacking on to that water main replacement, the water service line replacement. There's a lot of water terminology here. Some of you may also be impacted by street resurfacing. So we have to get ahead of street resurfacing because after your brand new road is paved, we can't dig it up for about 5 more years. So we need to get ahead of them. So some of you will be impacted first by water service line replacement, and then the Department of Public Service will come behind us and repave your road. Some of you, a few of you, are part of our first proactive replacement program. So if you're in North Hilltop, around Eldon, North Terrace, you are in an area where we are only replacing the water service lines. We used community feedback to help us determine where to go, and Hilltop is one of the first places that we decided we need to go. So we have maps online available, and also at the tables. If you can see these red and blue squiggly little lines, this is kind of where we will be, again, during planned city construction. We do have one project in Franklinton. So, excuse me, how is this going to affect you? The first thing we all want to know is, what is this going to cost, right? What is this going to cost for you, the homeowner? It's free. So most of us are not snaps. Yes, I like that. Most of us are not used to hearing the government say the F word, right? Free. The government doesn't say free enough. So what is the disclaimer? What is the fine print? The fine print is that it is free as part of the planned city construction that I mentioned. So when our team, our construction crew is on your street ready to replace that water main or whatever it may be, that is when there is no cost to you, the homeowner, okay? So again, what does that mean? What does free mean? Are you gonna put $7,000 on my water bill? No. Our water bills are not meant for that. We're not tacking that cost of replacement onto your water bill. We're not putting a lien on your property or on your mortgage. We are not recouping that money in that way. The water bills that you pay today, that you've always paid, they pay for this work. Water rates, the existing water rates, help us do everything that we're doing. They help us treat the water. They help us do this sort of replacement. They help us upgrade that water main in your street. So that's all the caveat. It's free when we are on your street. Now, the water service line has been and will continue to be the financial responsibility of the homeowner, okay? So if anyone goes home tonight to a broken water service line, my fingers and toes are crossed. Now, that doesn't happen to anyone here. But if your line breaks before we get to you, that is your responsibility as the property owner, okay? So touching on water rates really quickly, most people do not know that we have a discount program. So I want to share that really quickly. We do have representatives from that program here tabling tonight. We have a 25% discount on your water bill. It's income qualifying. If you have something like SNAP, you may qualify for that. And if you are one of our seasoned friends, over 60, my mom is not a senior, she's seasoned, okay? There is an extra discount. So I highly recommend that if you feel that you could take advantage of that, to go talk to one of our team members tonight. So how could you be impacted by this work? When I start to talk to residents about this, one of the first things I hear is that, oh, well, I have a copper or a plastic line, stop texting me, stop emailing me, stop knocking on my door, this doesn't apply to me. It does apply to you. If you are part of a planned city construction project, the end story is that everyone is going to be impacted in some way, shape, or form, okay? The least of which could be you may have to move your car for a little bit. But most of us are going to have temporary water shut off with advance notice. Again, parking relocation. There's going to be some sort of impact to your landscaping, and everyone, regardless of what material your water line is made of, has the option to move your water meter from inside to outside, okay? So whether you have copper or plastic, or you have that galvanized steel that is eligible for free replacement, you are likely going to be impacted in some way, shape, or form. So I mentioned water meters. Here in the Hilltop, you have probably heard about water meters. The city is doing a lot of work on water meters right now. As part of that work, we've gotten a lot of feedback from the community. We've heard and seen from a lot of you. And as a result of that feedback, the solution that we've come up with to the disturbance that we cause by coming in your home to access that water meter is to move that water meter outside, okay? That's an optional, as of right now, that's an optional program that you can take advantage of during this planned city construction, okay? Hopefully everyone can sort of see these pictures. This will show the water meter moved outside. The water meter will remain on private property, okay? So it would be moved outside in a weatherproof box in the front yard, okay? That's an optional program as of right now. So how do you know if you're getting a replacement? First and foremost, come talk to one of us in a blue t-shirt. Aside from pizza, that's the reason we're here tonight, is to have FaceTime with the city, to have these conversations. Believe it or not, these conversations that we do have tonight do help us shape the program and change how we're doing this work, okay? You can also use your phone's camera to scan the QR code on screen. It's also available at your table. There's a lot of QR codes. But this will take you to a map where you can input your address and search your property. And that map will tell you if you're in a project area, what that project is, according to city records, what your water service line material may be made of. What we need from everyone here tonight is to tell us what your water service line material is made of. So that's another QR code at your table. We're also, hopefully everyone grabbed a bag when they came in. If not, please see the table up front. We also have information in the bag about how to take that survey. You take a quick picture near your water meter and you share that with us online. If it's easiest, you can email it to us, okay? And our team that is going out knocking on your doors, many of you may have already seen our team. They can assist you with that when they're at your door, okay? All right, I've been talking a lot, so I'm gonna talk through this a little bit faster. How are you gonna be notified of all of this work? Tonight is not going to be the last time that you hear from us, okay? Many of you have probably already gotten a text or an email or maybe a door tag from us. And that's going to continue as we get closer to work, okay? And you're gonna be getting texts and emails and things in the mail based off of what your water service line material. If you haven't shared that picture with us, you're gonna hear from us quite a bit, okay? So you're gonna keep on hearing from us after tonight. What are some basic expectations from this work? Our contractors, if we are replacing your water service line, or if you have chosen to have your water meter relocated outside, our contractors do need to come inside the home to access that water meter, okay? If you're relocating the water meter, that'll be the last time we have to do that for hopefully a while, okay? Everything is going to be replaced with copper. Whether it's on your side or our side, we are replacing lead and galvanized steel with copper. Okay, again, as of right now, it is optional to move your water meter outside. If you are interested in that, you will still need to sign a work agreement with us authorizing the city to do that work. You can expect a water shutoff for about 6 to 8 hours. Again, advance notice will be given to you. And again, after this, you can come up to anyone in a blue shirt to ask more questions. So coming into the home. I want to touch on this a little bit because that's kind of uncomfortable, right? To have a strange person come in your home. My boyfriend doesn't let me be home alone when there's a stranger coming in the home, okay? It can be a little uncomfortable. So first and foremost, we see you and we hear you. Again, water meter relocation outside is the solution that we've identified to that for right now. So in this picture, this is the only thing our team is looking for when we come inside the home, okay? Who you are and whatever eccentric hobbies you have going on at home are not a concern for us, okay? Some of you are smiling. I'm a little suspicious. That is not what we are looking for, okay? We have a singular job to do. First and foremost, it'll primarily be our contractors coming inside the home, but they have a singular purpose. They want to do their work as accurately, efficiently, and as safely as possible and get out because they're uncomfortable too coming inside your home. They don't know you. They don't know what you have going on. So what I'm promising you is that this is what we're looking for when we come into your home. And what I'm asking from you is to make sure that when our team goes inside, make that a safe environment for them, okay? They need at least 3 feet by 3 feet space around the water meter, and they need a clear and safe path to the water meter, usually in the basement, okay? If you can't access your water meter, we had a woman reach out to us last week and warn us, hey, I have a couch in front of the water meter, the lights are out down there, honestly, it's kind of creepy. That's great. Let us know. Call us, email us, and give us a warning about what we're walking into, okay? We can help you move that couch, but let us know. All right, how can you prepare for replacement? I believe in your bags, there is a full handout of all the ways that you can prepare for replacement. Again, if you didn't get a bag, come up and see us. Anyone in blue can help you out, okay? First and foremost, our contractors are going to be the one reaching out to the property owner directly to schedule your specific replacement, okay? If you're a landlord and you want us to work with your tenant instead, just let us know. But it'll be our contractor reaching out to you to schedule your water service line replacement. Utilities are going to be marked in the yard and in the right-of-way. Again, please clear a work area around the water meter, and someone at least 18 years old needs to be home if we have to come inside, okay? Okay, so we are very lucky tonight to have one of the brains here, one of our engineers here who designed this work. So I'm going to pass it over to Evan.
Just the green button? Yep. Hey everybody, my name is Evan DeSanto. I'm one of our project engineers, which also implies I'm not a public speaker. That's what these people are here for. I'm an engineer. I like to sit in my office and don't talk to anybody, so bear with me as we get through this. I'm just going to real briefly talk about the water main products that are coming up, not specifically lead, more of the main stuff. Construction typically takes place in the street, like you can see in these pictures. So most of the time, we're not putting the mains outside of the street. Probably takes about a month when we're on your street from start to finish, but it does depend on the length that we're installing. Some good contractors will get 200 to 300 feet a day, just to kind of give you an idea of what to expect when you're out there. During the main replacement, the public side lead and galvanized will be replaced. Private side replacements will begin after the water main is completed. And depending on the work agreements that are signed, the water meter may be relocated outside during the replacement. Hannah kind of showed this diagram before, but construction for a service line replacement is fairly easy. A lot of times what they're doing is they're going in your basement, they're putting a cable inside your existing service line, and they're kind of pulling that line right through from your basement out to that hole out there. So if all goes well, sometimes they're done in 2 to 3 hours. It's not really invasive, and that's happens most of the time. They're successfully able to do that. If we can't do that, then sometimes we actually do have to dig a trench where there's a little bit more, damage to your yard, but they will replace it. So that's kind of an overview. This next picture here kind of shows that in live action. You can see the backhoe is connected to the service line, and they're kind of pulling that right through that hole. So we say 6 to 8 hours for a shutoff, but like I said, on a good occasion, it could be 2 to 3 hours. We like to give you a worst case scenario first. That way you're not expecting miracles to happen. But that's probably a good indication of what you're going to see out in the field. Landscaping, as Hannah noted, will be impacted. Our contractors do not want to get into your retaining walls or trees or anything like that. We are going to do everything we possibly can, to avoid what's out there. So the pictures here kind of show nice clean cuts. We like to keep everything concise and neat. And then the picture on the right is kind of like a finished product. So when we're out of your yard, you're going to see topsoil, you're going to see seed. We have 2 projects going on currently where we've had customers raving about our contractors, saying they've done a terrific job on restoration. We plan to keep that up with future projects. That's the city way. So if you ever have questions or complaints with restoration, please let us know. We will have our contractors jump on that immediately for you. Like I said, avoiding trees, pathways, porches, we're going to do everything in our power. Lastly, there is going to be, minor inconveniences. It is construction, so you could expect some road closures. We do our best to keep you notified in the process. We'll send out a resident notification letter at the beginning, which will have contact information for a project manager like myself. We have full-time inspection on our projects, so they will also have that contact info as well as the contractor. Again, call us anytime. We're here to help. Crews may need access to driveways. You are always going to be able to get into your driveway. When we're right in front of it, we might have to put down some plywood or take a couple minutes to move, so bear with us, but you'll never not have access to your driveway at any time. Water service to the entire street will be shut off temporarily when we have to tie these water mains in, on each end of the street. We will do shuts, and those are normally only about 4 hours, and it's during the day when most people are working, say like 9 to 1, so those are pretty short. After the work is done, we do plan on paving the street, so the half that we have put that water main on, we will be paving. On some projects, we will be doing full width, depending on the scope of the project, but for a normal water line replacement, much to everybody's dismay, we're not doing the other side of the street too, we're only doing the side that we install the main on. Okay, I keep breathing.
Thank you, Evan. All right, I want to talk a little bit about what happens after construction. This is where, the next part of the lead program comes in. You're going to receive instructions for flushing when the project is over and your service line is replaced. As I said previously, we do not have detectable levels of lead in our water. However, when a line is replaced, you can kick up particulate, and you can see temporary increases in lead. The way you get rid of that is you flush it down the drain. So you'll have instructions on how to properly flush your home. You'll run your water through every spigot. It'll be systematic, and it'll be included in a kit that you will receive for how to flush your home. Proper flushing is highly effective, but just to be on the safe side, we're also going to provide you with a pitcher filter that you can use for the next 6 months. And we recommend that you use that pitcher filter for cooking, drinking, things of that nature. You should be perfectly fine after that. We do also offer follow-up sampling, so we're happy to sample your home just to make sure if you'd like it, but all those instructions will be in a kit that you will receive. The main takeaway from this is those instructions: flush, use your pitcher filter, and then reach out to us if you want to sample. Here, I went backwards. So here is, when we talk about flushing, I think a lot of people are like, what do you mean flushing? When I think of flushing, I think about flushing a toilet. When we say flushing, we mean running that water at a high velocity through your whole home. We want to make sure that any sort of construction particulate that happened when we cut those lines, we installed a new line, we put new lines in, is flushed out. You're going to be asked to remove aerators on your home, The aerator is the little screen on your thing. And there are certain appliances like your washing machine, your refrigerator. If you can't remove a filter and it's not something you can properly flush, just don't run it while you flush. Flush everything out through something of high velocity. We highly, highly, highly recommend you use your bathtubs. That's a really nice way to pull a lot of water really fast and get maximum velocity through your house. But it is extremely effective at removing any particular construction debris that happens. And like I said, use that filter kit, contact us for sampling. We can verify for you with the sampling, and we're happy to do that. In addition to the kit, and the kit may come before the work is done. The main thing is you have to have the kit before we're done. So you may see it as we start work on your street. They may go through and drop the kits off. But in addition to that, we're going to do some restoration. And Evan talked a little bit about yards. What we'll see in yards, we try to restore your landscaping as best as possible. We try to make sure that concrete is flush and walkable. However, we won't ever not restore, but sometimes it's weather dependent. If it's January, we can't always lay concrete right away. Grass also doesn't grow in January. So we'll do our best to make everything level, lay straw, and then you may have to wait for us to come back and finish restoration when it's, the weather is appropriate for that. Typically, if the weather is cooperating, it's about 1 to 3 weeks after replacement. They'll go and do replacements, and they'll come back and send a restoration contractor to get that restoration done. The other thing that we do like to caution people is that if you've drywalled in your meter, we have to have access to that. We're going to leave an access panel. We need that 3 foot by 3 foot access there, and we'll leave something nice and clean. We're not trying to, damage anything here. We want to try to leave it as we found it. We're good Boy Scouts in that way. All right. So as Hannah mentioned, our big ask tonight is please go identify your private side material. We have relatively good records because we just sent our metering team through the Hilltop, but it's really helpful to have that photo. That photo helps us confirm, that helps us plan, that helps us know what kind of work agreement or if we even need a work agreement from you. And if you get down into your basement and lo and behold, it is galvanized, please sign a work agreement. It's free, as Hannah said. It's free when we're doing this kind of work down your street. Now is the time. We want to help you. We want to make this successful for us, but we really want to do the work for you. And so those are kind of the things that we would ask here is kind of what's next. And then ultimately, you can see any of us in a blue shirt. If you want to sign a work agreement tonight, let's say you already know, or let's say you don't know and you want to find out, come find us. We can tell you what your material is based on our records. We still would ask you to confirm if you can, and we'll help you find the work agreement application to get it signed. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Round of applause for our great team. And before I get started on the discussion ground rules and close this part of the meeting off, I would like to thank the Mid-Ohio Food Collective Farm for hosting us. Isn't this a beautiful venue? We really appreciate it. All right, thank you very much.